And we do know that the Ford government plans on continuing this legal challenge against the federal government over the carbon tax. They've budgeted about $30 million for this challenge. And although Premier Ford announced last week that he was going to continue with that battle, today he said for the very first time those same words in the legislature, and they were echoed by Minister of Energy Greg Rickford.
We'll be consulting with the cabinet and we'll move forward from there. But I do respect democracy.
That was Ford in August, implying that the federal election would determine, at least partly, if the Tories would continue their legal challenges. Today, the Premier was called out in the legislature by NDP leader Andrea Horwath.
The Premier said he would stop wasting public money and resources if the federal Conservatives lost. Because, to quote him, once the people decide, I respect democracy. Last week, despite these promises, the Premier insisted that he would proceed. My question is why?
We ran on making life more affordable for the people of Ontario. We ran on making sure we're competitive when it comes to businesses when we're competing around the world. We didn't run on increasing gas prices by 35 cents a litre. It's unaffordable. We didn't run on making the carbon tax will cost families another $700 more a year. They just can't afford it.
Although the government allocated $30 million to fight against the federal carbon tax, it's unclear how much of that money has been spent to date or how much has been spent on advertisements and public awareness campaigns about the policy. Energy Minister Rickford was resolute that they will continue to challenge the law up to the Supreme Court.
We intend to move forward with our steps to get rid of the job-killing regressive carbon tax.
Earlier this year, the federal government imposed a carbon pricing plan on New Brunswick, Ontario, Manitoba and Saskatchewan, all of which don't have their own. Alberta and Manitoba have mounted court challenges. Saskatchewan's appeal to the Supreme Court will be heard in December. Following last week's election results, New Brunswick, which previously supported Saskatchewan's case, said it will devise its own plan to align with federal regulations.
Did the Premier misspeak in August? He said he was going to reconsider it.
We remain fully committed to fighting this job-killing regressive carbon tax. We think it goes after the wrong people.
It's shameful that he's not living up to the expectation that he set himself prior to the results of the federal election.
I don't think it makes sense to waste money on a politically motivated lawsuit that likely isn't going to win, especially at a time when you're trying to repair relations with the federal government.
We believe that this introduces an important cost to consumers. It's a regressive tax that's essentially increased the price of everything. We heard the opposition talk today about ambulance and education. Think of the extra costs that tax is imposing on ambulances, on school buses, on police cars, on ordinary, hardworking people of Ontario to pay for gas.
And the stickers that were supposed to be seen on gas pumps across the province, well, they aren't supposed to be going anywhere. Now, while many have fallen off or peeled away, Rickford says that no gas station has been fined for not having them in place. And in fact, as far as he knows, no gas station has even been warned for having them off of the pump.